from Beneath the Wheel. Hans Gibberath was put in Hellas together with a group of 9 other companions. A strange feeling came over him as, with the other 9, he entered the chilly and bare-looking dormitory in the evening for the first time and lay down in his narrow school bed. From the ceiling hung a large oil lamp whose red light served them to undress by, and which was extinguished by the student teacher at 10:15. The beds were ranged side by side, and between each pair stood a small chair on which the boys piled their clothes. By the pillar hung the rope which rang the morning bell. 2 or 3 of the boys had already become acquainted and exchanged a few timid whispers that very soon ceased altogether. The rest of them were strangers to each other and lay in their beds quiet and depressed. The ones already asleep breathed deeply as they moved an arm in their sleep. The counterpane gave a faint rustling sound. Those who were still awake kept quite still. Hans was unable to get off to sleep for a long time. He listened to the breathing of his neighbor, and after a while caught an oddly frightened noise from the next bed but one. A boy was lying there, weeping, with his sheet pulled over his head. This muffled sobbing affected Hans strangely. He himself was not suffering from homesickness, and yet he was missing the quiet little room which he had at home. In addition, there was a nervous apprehension of his novel situation and all the new faces. It was not yet midnight, but no one else in the dormitory was awake. Young sleepers lay side by side, their cheeks pressed into the striped pillows, the sad and the defiant, the faithful and timid, all overcome by the same sweet, untroubled repose and oblivion. A pale half-moon climbed above the steep old roofs, towers, bow windows, turrets, battlements and Gothic arcades. Its light lay across cornices and window ledges, poured over Gothic windows and Romanesque gateways, and shimmered golden in the large, handsome bowl of the cloister fountain. A few yellow beams and flecks of light also fell into the Hellas dormitory through the 3 windows and formed as neighborly an accompaniment to the dreams of the slumbering boys as it had to the monks in the old days. The following day, the solemn initiation ceremony took place in the oratory. Teachers stood in their frock coats. The principal gave the address. The students sat in the pews, bowed in thought, and stole an occasional glance at their parents, who were sitting a long way behind them. The mothers smiled wistfully at their sons. The fathers sat very erect and followed the discourse with grim seriousness. Proud and praiseworthy feelings and high hopes filled their breasts, and it did not occur to any one of them that he was exchanging his child for a financial advantage. At length, one after the other, each pupil was summoned by name and stood up before the rest, was given the ceremonial handshake by the principal as a pledge on the part of the establishment that, provided he comported himself properly, he would be cared for and sheltered by the state for the remainder of his life. None of them seemed to realize, the fathers least of all, that they could not quite expect all that for nothing.